So, this is my team. There's a few more that I know today, and one lady that I don't know, but I'm sure I will before the end of the day. This is the amazing Elliot, who runs Revitalise and Grace N, who I bang on about a lot because they fix you and they fix you fast. They're real clever. And we've got one of, I think I said earlier, another one of Revitalise team over there, David, here today. I'm going to leave you with Elliot. He's going to explain great holistic health tips for ageing well, maintaining strength, all the stuff we use in class every week. So you can maybe teach him a thing or two, actually. So anyway, I'll leave you to it. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much. So, hello, everyone. I think I might have met, I see some familiar faces, yeah?
Terry, you've been sorting my husband.
Yeah, is he okay? is he doing all right?
Doing well.
Good. I recognise you. It's a pleasure to speak to you all today. So my name's Elliot. I'm from the Revitalise Clinic, where we've helped over 15,000 people now become pain-free, physically fit and mentally well. Now, the main ambition of the clinic was to create a space where someone can come in with the burdens of pain, mental illness, low fitness, and they felt held. They first off felt that they were with a team who could hold them and everything that they come in with, and then teach them to hold themselves, like self-compassion, self-treatment. We treat for pain relief, we ease the symptoms of pain, mental illness, low physical fitness, and we're then able to help that person gradually carry themselves on a journey. And that journey tends to be first off conquering the basics of health, which we'll talk about in a second, but then it goes on to beyond that, really catering that health or honing that health true to their values, what they think of being as very important about life and how they want to live life. And that's where the basics separate from the specifics. The basics of health are quite simple. It's about returning to nature, which we'll talk about in a second. But the specifics of health, that's really true to what makes us who we are as human beings. Our values, our beliefs, our visions, not just our big visions, but also our small visions. The big visions might be how we might want to make an impact in the world, but our small visions are how we want to conduct ourselves on a day-to-day basis, how we want to conduct ourselves with our family. It's important that we try and hold as much of that as possible as we go forward. Now, the way that we look at health at Revitalise naturally is going to be quite biased by my philosophy as an osteopath. So I'm an osteopath, which means I'm a pain specialist, and I specifically take a special interest in people who've been in pain for a long amount of time, so over 3 months, so they're chronic. It takes a slightly different speciality. But the way that where osteopathy came from, it came from a time where Western medicine, you could say, was quite underdeveloped. They were still using leeches and poison to treat certain diseases, and it was really about disease hunting. A phrase from osteopathy is anyone can find disease. The aim of the practitioner is to find health. So amongst this, whatever this person's bringing in, what does health look like in their situation? Now it comes down to, for us, the 3 C's. So compassion, how that person can become compassionate towards themselves, understanding, accepting of themselves and where they are. Second is comprehension. Can they understand where they are and understand where they want to be? And the third is capacity, to have the physical robustness to conduct ourselves, how we want to conduct ourselves and true to our values on a day-to-day basis. So compassion, capacity, and comprehension. Now, the way that this factors in to health, we use what's called the biopsychosocial model. I'll give you a slight explanation. So biopsychosocial model is looking at someone's health through the realm of their body, or their biology, their mind, which you could say is their experience, and their experience of themselves, and also their sociological perspective, so how that person interacts with their social environment. I'll give you an example as to why this is really important. So, and think of a patient. So I had a patient had hip pain come on for no reason. Individual was in their 70s. And they were walking every day. They were very, very active. But in, say, January, that all had to stop because their hip was really painful. And there was no reason why. I then asked, did anything change physically? At the time, said, no, nothing changed physically. Did you experience any emotional change at that time? So, oh, my wife was diagnosed with terminal cancer, and we used to walk together on a very regular basis. Now, this is a really common start for pain. The reason why is just like anxiety is there to protect you against a potential future, grief is there to protect you against the harm or reliving the memory of the past, for example. Depression might numb you to protect you against the difficulty of everyday life. You have pain, which is there to protect you against yourself. It's your nervous system not giving you a measurement of damage. It's your nervous system acting like the parking sensors on your car. It kicks in before you hit something, most often not after. Now, the issue with this is it can bleed into other defense mechanisms. Someone who is generally in a state of vulnerability is more likely to experience pain. Pain in the UK, the highest correlation is to type 2 diabetes and depression, because someone's biological health and mental health is not optimal. Their body is deemed as being more vulnerable, so that person's pain response is more likely to flare to try and protect them. Now, this comes on to how we improve our biopsychosocial health or our health from an overall perspective. I'll quickly summarize. When it comes to your physical ability, it's about returning to nature. So one is wrestling with your environment, which is essentially what you did earlier, right? So before I came here, you were using bodyweight exercises? Yeah, it was a bodyweight exercise? Yeah, perfect. So you're using your bodyweight, gravity to strain your body. That strain creates an acute response, and that acute response then leads to a hormonal drive for you laying down more muscle tissue, stronger bones, stronger ligaments, more mobility, but also more endorphins. That would have happened, say, 1,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago, by us generally going about our day-to-day. Nutrition. Really, 80% of our diet should look like we could have got it from our garden, should look like it's natural. 100 years ago in the UK, that's exactly what we used to do. That's exactly how we used to eat. Today, it's the flip. 80%, 70 to 80% of our food is now processed in the UK. So it comes from a packet. It doesn't look like it could come from a farm or your garden. So once again, we wind back the clock, go back to nature, tend to find that we're going to be quite a bit healthy. In fact, in the UK, if we simply ate like we did 70 to 80 years ago, we would probably be much happier and much healthier. Comes on to the social side of things. It's very, very difficult to have health, at least holistically, if we don't have a robust social support system. Think of chimps. If I gave you an image of chimps lining up in single file, what would you think they would be doing? What image comes to mind? Yes, exactly that. They'd be scratching each other. They would be grooming each other. Right now, chimps are a very close relative of us. What do we do when we meet someone? We touch their hand, touch their shoulder, give them a pat on the back. If I'm really friendly with someone, I might walk with my arm around them. All these things give us really strong social cues that we have a robust social support system. Now, what that then does comes to the placebo effect. They couldn't work out why the placebo effect acted as it did. To give you an example, there was one man, a medical consultant or a doctor who was working on a medical consultant. His medical consultant said to this man, I don't know what to do with this patient. They've got these lesions all over their body and I have no idea what I need to do to help them. The doctor said, it's interesting you say that. I've just taken a course in hypnotherapy. Sat down with this patient, 30 minutes, 45 minutes at a time. Once again, coming back to that social support, that patient now feels held. They've got someone who's working with them, got someone who's investing in their social health. Now, after a few sessions, this patient was symptom-free. The skin lesions dropped off of their body. And the doctor was really happy with the progress. So they went to the consultant and said, this is what's happened. I know that you couldn't treat this patient, but I actually used hypnotherapy to treat this patient. What do you think? And the consultant's jaw dropped. And he said, what did you do? He said, I used hypnotherapy. He said, you said that you're having issues with these lesions. I thought they were moles. Anyway, after a few sessions, they dropped off. He said they weren't moles, that was skin cancer all over his body. Now, for a long time, there were theories around the placebo effect, couldn't really work out why it happened or why it worked, right? They could make sense of it from a sensory perspective. I don't feel pain anymore. I don't feel sad anymore from an experiential perspective. But in terms of actually the placebo effect helping structural issues, couldn't think of why. There's an Italian scientist, and I think he has the best theory to date, which is that the placebo effect is essentially your body meeting you halfway. Your experience is that I have a robust social support system. That sends signals to the body that you are going to be supported. That then sends signals to the body that you can take time and effort and energy focusing on healing because there's no immediate threat here. So what's called your homeostatic potential starts to drive up a healing response. That's why it's very difficult to have holistic health if we don't have a strong social support system. And the last point is, or the last factor is our minds. So what is good mental health? Now, life is very stressful. Life is very, very difficult. But there's two things that can really help us with this. One is positioning ourselves as observer is context. So observer as context is our ability to sit back from stress, our ability to have a bit of a healthy disassociation from stress. The difference from this would be feeling like your world is dragging you. Oh my God, so-and-so's asked me to do this. Oh, this person just called me by that name. Oh my God, I'm so stressed. That's me being dragged from pillar to post by our mind. The opposite of that is observer as context. This would be the equivalent of you sitting on the side of a road watching traffic go by. You don't know where your thoughts are coming from. You don't know where they're going. They come in, they come out. They come in, they come out. Now, as long as you're not attached by a leash to those cars, you're probably going to be all right. If you can sit back and observe these stresses come and go, that's called observer as context, healthy disassociation. The last factor is psychological flexibility. That's your ability to hone into one car by choice, or one thought by choice, one sensation by choice, follow it as long as you want, pull it back, and then focus on something else. So those three things, healthy disassociation, observer as context, and psychological flexibility, tend to be really evidence-based, strong pillars for really good mental health. Because you also then start to look at life as more of a journey and an experience and a story that's unfolding before our eyes, rather than it feel that life is happening to us all the time. Now, does anyone have any questions at all before I move on to something a little bit more active? Any interest or any questions about mental health, physical health, fitness, social health, or anything like that? All good? And any thoughts or anything interesting about what I just said?
You have different specialities then?
Yeah. So at the clinic, so they tend to bleed into each other a bit. So we have our pain team, which are osteopaths, physiotherapists, sports therapists, and chiropractors. We then have our mental health team, so counsellors, life coach. Our counsellor's also doing a master's degree in mindfulness. We have also our fitness services. So that would be personal training, but then we also have, for example, David, who's a stroke and cardiac rehab specialist. We have personal trainers who specialise in behavioural change, movement with pain. For me, my training bleeds into pain with a bit of psychotherapy, and that's mainly because I see a lot of people in chronic pain, and often chronic pain massively correlates to emotional distress. So like one patient I saw on Saturday, her pain started when her parents split up, and when she was having a really tough time at university, and then she was later diagnosed with fibromyalgia, chronic pain, skin lesions as well. So yeah, so they tend to bleed into each other quite a bit as well. All right. Any other questions at all?
No, but there's a different aspect, there's a different perspective, I think, of what you're describing. For a lot of sense.
Right. And a different perspective to?
Well, when you look at mental health, as people do a lot now, because since COVID it's become more accepted.
Yes.
It's more channeled in one way than what you just described.
Oh, okay.
It's more holistic and
fine.
With multiple points of things to consider.
Yeah, I think that, from my perspective, I think that the change in awareness of mental health has been fantastic. But I think that if we disregard how difficult life is, then it can sometimes lead to something being less useful than it could be. It would be the equivalent of, you know, if I try and, it's okay, say all of our physical load or physical stress comes from gravity, right? Now, if I take gravity out, what's going to happen to you? But this, yeah, is that. But then also, if you think of an astronaut who comes back down to the moon, they're completely wasted. Yeah, they haven't got that robustness anymore. And I think that there has to be a line which is trod on both, or evenly between both sides. One, once again, compassion. So how we can better soothe each other, understand ourselves, but then there's also the capacity. We have to be able to deal with stressful things because life is stressful. Yeah? Yes?
I'm reading a book on self-compassion, but how do you learn it? Because I'm reading the book and it's sort of telling you certain ways I learn about. But I find it quite a difficult concept.
Should we go through a bit? Should we do a bit? Perfect. All right, let's go through a bit now. So, let me take a seat. All right. Put your hand up if anyone else suffers with self-compassion. I know I do. So to look at yourself as someone that is worthy of care, that is worthy of your own love, attention, understanding. Does anyone find that difficult? Yeah, you have done. Okay, right. And sorry, what's your name, please?
Sharon.
Sharon, can you tell me how you overcame that?
I had therapy.
Great. And what did therapy teach you?
It taught me to be kind to myself.
Beautiful. All right. Great.
Basically, and to not to accept things, but to understand them.
Okay.
And from understanding that, allowing myself some leeway
Beautiful.
when I wasn't.
Lovely. Okay. There's one thing that I want to pick up on with that. So you say, what is love? Big question, but what is love?
Someone having your back.
Perfect. Anything else?
Well, you have to have that for yourself as well, I think.
Yes. You could,
I think that's the biggest challenge.
So love can be
Probably have.
directional, multi-directional, right? So okay, good. So we've got someone having your back and someone thinking about you, right? Perfect. Anything else? Trust. Perfect. So care. Perfect. Good. Anything else?
Good. Support.
Good. Support. Great. Now there's a philosopher, Leloup. He's a French Buddhist philosopher, and he was interpreting what are called the Nag Hammadi texts, which are some of the earliest Christian texts that were only rediscovered in 1967, I think. And he was trying to, because obviously Christianity and Buddhism, a lot of it is about love, and he wanted to understand what is love. And the common denominator that he came down to was unconditional open awareness. If I can pay attention to something or someone, and they are the only thing that I'm aware of, no past, no future, unconditional, pure openness, that is love. That is also trust, because if I'm aware of you and just you, doubt is taken out of the equation. I'm open to you and who you are, therefore I trust you. Having your back is one thing, because I'm completely aware of your back. Being aware of your needs, I'm completely aware of your needs. That's all I am. So if you can pay attention and give pure awareness to something, is that not love? So what we're going to do now is combine that with a little bit of, you call it archetypical work, where we're going to be stepping into the role of someone. And the last thing before we do this, I want to draw your awareness to, is that observer as context means that you cannot be just what you're aware of. You're more predominantly the observer. So, for example, I could pass judge. So my sporting background is I love a tear up. I've boxed. I do jiu-jitsu. I love that physical fight. Just love it. It's part of my nature. Am I aggressive all the time? No. Am I peaceful at times? 100%. Most majority of the times I'm peaceful. Just an hour of the day, I get it out of my system. Done. Now, I could really tarnish my own perception of myself by calling myself an aggressive person. Or I could be awareness. I could be aware of that aggressive side of myself, know that it's there, and I can choose whether or not I want to give it attention. But if I am aware of it, I can choose whether or not it spills out into the world, and when it spills out into the world. Now, the reason why I wanted to draw this to you is that you are a garden. You're a component. You are an ecosystem of many, many things. Within all of us, there are the weeds, there are the flowers, there are the fruits, there are the seeds, there's the dirt, there's the grass. None of these things are good or bad. It's just what we are. So what I'm going to ask you to do is we're going to go for a visualization together. I'm just going to get you to close your eyes. If it feels uncomfortable at all, feel free to open them. There's no obligation to continue if you start to feel uncomfortable. I'm just going to guide you through a visualization to try and build on compassion. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So I need, if it's comfortable for you to do so, I need your backs away from the chair. Yes, you want to sit upright. And as well as that, you want to draw your crown to the ceiling. The back of your head wants to be drawn towards the ceiling. The reason why we do this in mindfulness meditation, it creates a certain amount of discomfort and it creates a certain amount of activity, so it makes it harder for us to fall asleep when we're doing it. All right. Yeah. All right. So if everyone would like to close their eyes. Take a deep breath in and out through pursed lips. Just become aware of the sensation of the breath on your nostrils, in your sinuses, and through your lips. Draw attention to the present moment. Just how that breath feels in the smallest amount of time that you can depict. Allow your elbows to drop down to your sides. Take the tension out of your body. Focus on the present moment. I want you to draw your mind's eye to the place in the center of your forehead. And I just want you to depict something which makes you feel uncomfortable. It could be something which has been moderately stressful. It could be something that you did which you would have preferred to have done slightly differently. I just want you to hold that in your mind's eye like a movie. Keep focusing on the present moment. How does it make your body feel? See if you can trace the emotion that you might be feeling to a particular part of your body. And in that area of your body, think about how big it feels, how small it feels, the texture, colour, the noise, and just sit with it, observe it. No judgment, just let it be. Slow your breath. Put your mind's eye entirely on that area. And just sit with that for a second. And now draw your awareness to your dominant hand. think of someone that you love, did love, someone who loves you. Just draw that sensation into your dominant hand. Feel the warmth of it, the love and the compassion in that hand. And when you're ready, take that hand and just place it on the area which you felt was the area where you experienced emotional stress. And just hold it. No judgment. Just awareness in the present moment. And just project that love and that compassion onto that area. Slowing your breath. Peace in the present moment. And just sit with that as long as you need. And when you're ready, you can have a little chat about it. All right. Cool. How was that? Bit emotional, cathartic. Made you cry, sorry. If you don't mind sharing, why did it make you feel emotional?
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I think I have quite a lot of negative self-thought going on quite often.
Yeah, okay.
And that's what I'm trying to work on at the moment. And one of the things I noticed when I started reading the book is that I talk to myself a lot more harshly than I would talk to anybody else.
Yeah.
So just kind of trying to work on that. So it feels a bit...
Yeah, you felt resistance? Yeah. It's definitely a muscle that needs to be worked on and grown. The difficulty is the same with pain. Pain is there to protect you. It's very unpleasant. It's not nice at all. Our negative automatic thoughts are there to protect us. It's the things that keep us from endangering ourselves, other people endangering us. The intent there for that part of ourselves is actually quite positive, but it's very, very uncomfortable. And there's a few things that we can do. We could go into this again. This is more into acceptance commitment therapy, into ACT techniques that we can use for those narratives. But often that acceptance and drawing awareness to them, first off, gives us distance because we're not then being dragged by them. It's almost as though knowing your foe, knowing what you're having to deal with. And then from there, we can start to get to work on either distancing them or sometimes maybe even changing the narrative. But yeah, they're often these negative automatic thoughts are going to come from a sense of vulnerability, not being good enough, not having done good enough, but they're workable. Yeah.